Hello, I'm Richard Vobes and welcome to my story videos. You've caught me in my office and it's very nice to see you. So today we've got a new story of Wally and Jeffery on my computer. I've just been writing it and I'm going to read it to you. Okay, so these are more stories of Wally and Jeffery, the naughty orphans of Snod Hill. Every year at Snod Hill orphanage for waifs and strays, the children are dressed up in their best uniforms and brought outside for the annual photograph. This time the picture was to be taken before breakfast on the cricket pitch, with the early morning sun rising above the old pavilion while a cool mist was wafting around their feet. All very artistic and magical. Well, it would be if the 12 youngsters could get their act together and be ready at 8 o'clock before the sun ducked behind a cloud or the mist evaporated. Up in the dormitories, there was panic. The kids, having been dragged out of the bed by the matron, Mrs Slimebottom, they were rushing around, pulling on their mauve shorts, their yellow shirts and blue blazers. Wally Bonehead was having a bit of trouble. "Jeffery," he shouted at the top of his voice, "Jeffery, have you seen my left sock?" His brother, Jeffery Bonehead, faced the mirror and flapped about with two ends of his tie, desperately trying to fathom a way to get the knot at the bottom to slide up to his collar and look respectable. He didn't seem to be hearing the large boy yelling at him. "Jeffery, will you stop what you're doing and listen to me when I'm talking to you?" Jeffery threw his tatty tie on the floor in a fit of temper. "Oh, I can't do it, Wally. It's too difficult." "I beg your pardon," exploded Wally. "Listening to me is too difficult?" "What did you say?" "Oh, you have the attention span of a gnat." "Oh, buzz off." "Don't you tell me to buzz off. Now, pin back your ears before I smash your face in and tune your pea brain into what I'm saying." Jeffery sat on his bed and folded his arms, trying to look attentive. Now, that's a tough ask because Jeffery's face is constantly vacant and it's very difficult to tell whether he's awake or asleep. "Well," he said, finally, when he was ready. Wally narrowed his eyes and glared at him before saying, "Where is my left sock?" "Have you seen it? The wretched thing has gone walkabout, and I can't go downstairs and be photographed barefooted, can I?" "Well, how should I know where your left sock is?" Jeffery replied, eyeing up his tie on the floor as if it was a yellow and mauve grass snake. "Have you tried looking in the sock drawer?" Wally rolled his eyes. "Of course I've checked the sock drawer, you numpty. Where do you think I found the right one?" "Oh, well, have you looked in all 5 corners?" "What do you mean, all 5 corners? A drawer is oblong. It's only got 4 corners, you durbrain." "No, 5 if you count the hole in the back." Wally scowled. But then he thought about the hole in the back and he pulled out the whole drawer and he peered down into the next one, but he still couldn't locate the sock. Jeffery came alongside him. "Here, what colour is it?" Wally's eyebrows shot to the top of his head. "It's sky blue pink with yellow dots on." "Blimey, that shouldn't be hard to find," said his brother. "Of course it isn't sky blue pink with yellow dots on, you idiot. It's the same colour as the right one, the one I'm already wearing." Jeffery got down on all fours and examined the long yellow woolen sock that went right up to Wally's kneecap. "Are you sure you're wearing the right one?" "What are you blabbering about?" Wally demanded, aware that outside he could hear the children of the orphanage rushing out the main doors and making their way to the cricket pitch. I was just thinking, Wally, you might be wearing the left sock on your right foot, making it the wrong sock that's missing. Wally brought his leg swiftly round, and making a sharp thud, the kneecap smacked Jeffery full in the face, knocking his round National Health spectacles flying. "Stupid," he said. Well, Jeffery scurried after his glasses, and as he put them on, something caught his eye under Wally's bed. He reached under and he pulled out Wally's sports sweatshirt. It had been there quite a while, and it was rather muddy, and it ponged. It was also bright yellow. "What are you doing with that?" Wally demanded. "Why don't you cut the arm off and use that as a sock?" Jeffery suggested, getting to his feet. Wally was about to cuff his brother when the idea began to take hold. If he sliced the arm off, it would slip up his leg easily enough, and because it was tight, it would hold. At least long enough to reach the cricket pitch and have his photograph taken. "All right," he said, with renewed enthusiasm, aware that time was running out. "Fetch the scissors and chop the arm off, and hurry up. We're going to be late, and Mrs Slimebottom will thrash us. You know what she's like." Jeffery found the scissors, and he hacked off the arm. Then, before he handed it to Wally, he paused, and he dropped the sleeve in the bin. "What did you do that for?" Wally boomed. His patience was at breaking point. Jeffery smiled at him. "My mistake, Wally. That arm, it was the wrong one. Here's the left one," and he held up the remaining sleeve still attached to the sweatshirt. Wally sighed a heavy sigh and urged his brother to hurry up. Finally, the second sleeve came free, and Jeffery handed it to his panicking brother. Swiftly, Wally slipped the yellow material up his leg, right up to the kneecap, and rammed his feet into the boots. Checking himself in the mirror, he nodded his approval. "Phew! Well done, Jeffery. No one is going to be able to tell the difference. Now, let's get down to the cricket pitch before we're in trouble." The boys hastened down the 3 flights of steps to the hall and thundered out to meet the rest of the orphans who were being put into position by the photographer. Jeffery tagged on the end of the line next to Wally, and luckily Mrs Slimebottom hadn't noticed they were the last to arrive. Just as the photographer was about to take the picture, Jeffery sneezed. "Achoo! Mrs Slimebottom glared at him. "That child!" she shouted. "Don't squirt your germs all over the place. Use a handkerchief." Jeffery nodded, but he sneezed again. "Achoo!" Wally nudged him. "For goodness sake, Jeffery, use your hanky." Jeffery nervously brought out his hanky, and he blew some of the biggest bogies that he and his brother had ever seen into it. Ooh. Mrs Slimebottom advanced on him. "Just a minute. What is that cloth that you have there?" It's my hanky, Mrs Slimebottom." "Give it here." Jeffery handed over his handkerchief. The matron stared at it. "This isn't a handkerchief, you stupid boy. This is somebody's sock." Jeffery regarded the unrolled garment, realising for the first time that it did very much look like a sock. Wally's eyes widened. He knew exactly whose sock it was. But before he could say another word, Mrs Slimebottom was addressing the whole group. "Right, listen up. We have the main uniform photograph done. Now for the important one. I want a picture that will show just how formidable we are on the field. Go inside and change into your sportswear." Everyone rushed back into the dormitories, save for Wally Bonehead, who remembered the terrible state of his sweatshirt and what his brother had done to it. He spotted Jeffrey legging it in the direction of the tennis courts. "I'll get you, Jeffrey Bonehead," he yelled. And in the next instant he was rushing across the cricket field, his fist clenched and arm waving in the air. "Come back here, you bonehead!" Poor old Wally. He got himself into a bit of a fluster there, didn't he? No socks and his arms chopped off his sweatshirt. Hey-ho. Well, there'll be another story next week, so do join me again next time for more of those crazy, naughty and slightly stupid orphans at Snod Hill. I've been Richard Vobes, and thanks very much for watching. Don't forget, if you've enjoyed these, to subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode. Until the next one, goodbye.